thought love could fit in a lunchbox, but I'm with a gentleman who has made that happen. The director of The Lunchbox at the Toronto International Film Festival, Ritesh Batra. Ritesh, thank you so much for being with Filmicafe.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So how did you make love fit in Lunchbox? How did that happen?
Did my mother send you? Because you're very generous, very kind. Uh, I don't know if love fits in a lunchbox, honestly. But the film to me was always sort of driven by the characters, and I think you feel that way because of the way the actors experience the lunchbox. They're the real vessels through which we tell stories. The lunchbox is just an inanimate object. But it was a real blessing. It's been a real blessing actually to work with wonderful people and make this.
So you always had Nawaz in mind and you always had Irfan in mind. What about these actors drew you to them for these parts?
Well, the story to me was not like, for example, Irfan's character Sajan. Uh, he was never an old man for me. In my mind, he was always someone who feels old, and the script was or is very 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 dense, and it's filled with these moments, not necessarily words, but things, so many things that are unsaid, because it's really the story of two people who cannot communicate except through these letters. So there's so much that's unsaid in every scene. And Irfan, always to me, he's one of the greatest actors of our times, and it he I just when I finished the first draft of the script that worked, I knew that he has to do this, and hopefully I can convince him to do it. Uh, but didn't need much convincing. He read the script, we met, and then he was on board. So it was very organic. And the same with Nawaz. He's uh, such an amazing actor, and such a great soul, and has so much heart. And his character was always, for me, Sheikh was always a stand-in for Bombay in the city. The optimism of Bombay, the adaptability of Bombay. And Nawaz really brought himself to the part. He brought his years of struggle as an actor to the part, and just an incredibly honest human being. Just like the character. And all great actors are very honest, generous, smart people. So it was really really blessing to have both of them.
Now, without Ela, the story wouldn't be complete, correct? So you have Nimrit Kaur, who might be an unknown face to a lot of the audience that will be seeing this film, is going to be seeing this film. Why Nimrit for Ela?
But I don't think she's going to be an unknown face for long. But she's a wonderful actor. I saw her in a play in Bombay. We spent a lot of time casting for that part. My casting director, Seher Latifa, I think I almost drove her up the wall. But I stayed very very well guided by her as well. But we spent about 6 months looking for the right person. Lots of meetings, lots of interviews, lots of auditions, and I saw Nimrat in a play called Baghdad Wedding, and she was wonderful in it. And I also saw she had a small part in a movie called Peddlers a couple of years ago, and she was wonderful in that. And then we called her in, had a meeting, and she read the script, and then we had another meeting, and we tapped through it together. And I really just felt that this is the right person. And I think it was a good decision.
Yeah. Nimrat's character is obviously into cooking. She's the one making the lunch boxes. Are you much of a foodie yourself? And if you had her cook a lunchbox for you, would it look like what we see in the film?
Well, no, I wouldn't have her cook a lunchbox for me.
Is she a bad cook?
No, she's a great cook. She's a wonderful cook. But I mean, yeah, of course, I'm a foodie. We all are. We are from India.
Yeah.
And I cook, and I even like to cook more than I like to make movies, I think. um, but yeah, I mean, Nimrat is a wonderful cook, and that's one of the reasons also we cast her. And she really brought that to the part, because the things that she has to cook early on in the film, that Ela cooks, are really intricate and detailed and specific, and it's just a way for her to lose herself in the cooking rather than deal with the real problems of her life. And Nimrat really brought that to life. She cooked in that kitchen before several times actually before we shot.
Right.
So, and that really came through, I think.
Is the way to a man's heart through his stomach? We women want to know. So is it? And if it is, I need to get some cooking lessons. Actually,
You're not really a feminist, are you? But no, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. But in this story, it certainly was. Yeah.
I've read that the reaction to this film at Cannes, at Trilude in Toronto now, has surprised you. What about it has been surprising to you?
I mean, it hasn't really surprised me. It's been a real blessing. I mean, we knew that the film would be liked, because I was just talking to the actors and the crew, my collaborators, and we did several test screenings, during the editing process, and we saw the final cut together, and then we all had sort of this, confidence that people would like the film, but we didn't know it would be so loved, and I mean. You want to be able to do this again and again, and want to be able to tell, do good stories well told. So I've been thinking a lot about what worked, and I mean, I really don't know, but I feel like because we were so local and so specific and so honest to the details of, the time and the place, and somehow, we uncovered something that was also universal, and that's what we set out to do. But I'm glad. It's a real blessing that the film is traveling so much.
Right. You've traveled with it obviously from Cannes to Telluride and now to Toronto. As you've traveled with the film, has the space between you and the film gotten closer, and are you now distancing yourself from the film and looking at it from a different perspective?
I think the film is not finished until you see it with an audience, and they bring themselves to it, and I think there is a lot of space within the film for people to bring their lives to it. It's really about two people sifting through. A lot happens to the characters before the film begins, and the film is really about them sifting through all that baggage of their lives, through this relationship. So I mean, I think ideally, if audiences bring their own lives to the film, and and sift through their own baggage, because films and stories and books and all these things are just crutches for us. They serve a very important. Life is tough, life is real tough. And for me, movies and literature and music is really a crutch to get through this thing that we have to all do. So one hopes that your film also does that for people.
The common word I keep hearing from everybody that I've spoken to about the film is it's a sweet film. Is that the aftertaste you were looking for? And what do you think it is that the audiences, be it critics, just general audiences, are connecting to so far? Because everybody's raving about the film.
Well, I hope it is a sweet film, and sort of my catchphrase when I was working on the film, and the actors would make fun of me, and it'd be like, I would always say, this should be for various moments in the film. I would say that this should be sad and funny, and how can we do that? How can we accomplish that with the actors? How can we accomplish that with the camera? It was always about a lot of times it was about making it sad and funny, as life often is sad and it's also funny. So I mean, I hope it's a sweet film, and but for some people it's not as well, and that's also okay, because people bring their lives to the movies, and that's great.
Right. A lot of people are rooting for this film. There's a lot of buzz about this film being India's forerunner for the Oscars. What do you make of that? Are you able to make sense of that type of appreciation?
I think it's great. The film is traveling a lot. It's translating very well to a global audience, and I think that's important. It's important that we from India send a film that translates and speaks to a global audience, not just to our people, because films, cinema is a country, and film is a language, and we need to talk to everyone, not just there's a billion of us. But we really need to be part of a global dialogue, and I think that's what our movies should do. And whether it's my film that's selected or another one, I think it's really important that it be a film that can be part of that global dialogue, not a film that can only speak to our audiences. But I mean, it's a blessing, and I had a baby girl actually 5 days after the shoot.
Congratulations.
That really puts everything in perspective for me, and it's that's the it's like I'm not the center of my universe anymore. So I think that really helps. And I mean, I'm just enjoying the ride really, and it's a real blessing. Whatever happens from here on, this has been amazing.
This has also been a global production. If you look at the producers involved on the film, as well as the producers that are now going to be distributing this film, be it Sony Pictures outside of India, you have Dharma Productions, Karan Johar, you have UTV, you have Anurag Kashyap. Those filmmakers, those visionaries, backing up your first vision, it must be an enriching feeling for you, a confidence booster for sure, isn't it?
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, they're so generous people. They're so generous and big-hearted. And they saw the film and they liked it, and they decided to lend their names to it and take it to a wider audience. Because at the end of the day, it's a little film that we all got together and we made, and they are really making it travel. So I really appreciate that.
Well, your little film is traveling far, and it's making a big impact. Many congratulations on the Lunchbox, and all the best for the journey forward. Hopefully all the way to the Oscars.